All right. Good afternoon. I just wanted to do a quick screencast which shows how to use py2app to create an application for a Mac computer from a Python file. It basically compiles all of your Python files into one so that somebody can run it on their computer without having to download Python or download the files. So I'm going to show how to do this. And this is based on this site from Marina Mele, which I will post in the comments for reference in case anybody wants to look at that or her other tutorials. So here we go. The first thing that you would have to do would be to install py2app. Now keep in mind if you're using or if you have more than one version of Python on your computer, as do I, and you want to use Python 3, you would have to type pip3 instead of just pip, and then install. Okay, -u py2app, and that's going to install py2app. I happen to already have it on my computer, so it says requirement already satisfied, but for you, you will most likely need to put it on your computer. Now, this next step here is to create the setup script. Now, one thing that's important for this is you have to make sure you're in your working directory, okay? So I want to make sure, and I'm going to take this file here, pyglit-test.2.py, and let me show you what that is so you can see the program that I'm going to make. Pretty simple program, just a test, but it does include some graphics, which are a dog, and we can see it moving on the screen when we hit left or right arrow keys. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and exit out of this so we can make sure that we're in the same directory as this Python file. Now, you can see here I'm already in my main directory, Samantha Cruz, and at the bottom of the screen on a map, it shows where to go next. So I have to go to CS1 folder. So then I'll type here cd CS1, and that's going to bring me to my CS1 folder. And then I'm in another folder after that called pyglit2. Now I'm going to type again cd pyglit2, and that's going to bring me to that folder. And you can see here, I'm now in my pyglit2 folder. Okay, and now that I'm in the working directory, I can create this setup file. I do that by typing py2applet make setup, and then my application.py, instead of putting that, I'm going to put pyglit-test2.py because that's the name of my file. You would type the name of your file. And then it should create a setup.py file, and you can see that it created that here. Okay, and I need to edit a couple things in this file. It should already have my application name, but some things that I need to add are the data files, for example. So I can do that straight from Python, or I can do that from the command line by typing nano setup.py. And that's going to open up my Python file right here for me to edit. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I don't need to change the app. It's already, as we can see here, pyglit-test.py, but I do need to add the data files, which are the images. It could be images, music, JSON files, TXT files, whatever it is, I need to add that in the data file section. So bgfile.jpg is one of them. So I'm going to put bgfile.jpg. And then the other one is dog.gif. Okay. And then from there, once that's done, I can go ahead and exit and save it. So to exit this from here, I have to press Control X, as you can see at the bottom of the command line window. And then do you want to save it? I'm going to hit Y for yes, and then just hit return, and it'll bring you back to your terminal window. Okay. From here, now we can compile our project in alias mode, and it makes it build an application that uses all the data files in place. This won't run on other machines, but it's just testing to make sure that we did everything correctly. Now again, this is showing for Python 2. If you want to do it for Python 3, you would just use Python 3 and then type everything else exactly the same. So I'm going to do that now. So Python 3 setup.py, py2app, which is using the py2app library, and then dash capital A. And it has to be capital A or it won't work. Then you hit return, and then you should see these build and dist files are created. Okay, so I'm going to open up this dist file, which should have your applet as a .app file. And so now I'm going to open it and see if it runs, and it doesn't run. Okay, so that's weird. So if it doesn't run, you can open console. What I like to do is look at the contents of the file. So I'll control click on it and go to show package contents. And then go to Mac OS. And then if you run it from here, it'll actually tell you in a new terminal window what the issue is and why it won't run. And then I click open console. Okay. Okay, and it's saying no such file directory users CS1 py2app. Okay, so it's saying the file does not exist. Ah, okay, so here's the issue, is that I put the wrong file name. All right, so now I'm going to go back. This is part of the reason why we check it first. I put pyglit test instead of pyglit test2.py. So let's delete these. Go back into my setup. Go nano setup.py. Okay, and then you can see here in the app, I put pyglit test.py instead of pyglit test2.py, which is what caused the error. So now I'm going to try again. This might take a couple tries, but that troubleshooting method of looking at that contents folder is really going to help. And then exit this, save it, return, and then I'm going to run that program again. So now if I just hit up on my keyboard, it'll bring back that same command I typed before. Hit return. All right, and it says done. So now let's try again. Let's go in that dist folder, open up this pyglit test2, and yay, now it's working. Okay, you always want to check to make sure it works before you try building it, because or else you waste a little bit more time. All right, so once you've done that, we can see that it runs. So now I'm going to delete the build and the dist folder. So do that by typing rm rf -rf and then build dist. It's going to delete both of those folders. So now we can build the application that is shareable on other computers. Okay, and we type almost the same thing, but remember Python 3 instead of just Python. Setup.py py2app, and this time we leave off that -a, and that's what is going to let it actually build the package instead of just making a file that's only accessible on this computer. Okay, and then this should take a lot longer. You'll see all of these things that it's creating when it does this step. And be patient. Don't do anything. Wait till it says done. Yeah, sometimes it can take a while because you're compiling everything that's a part of that program in all the libraries and all of the Python modules. We should be almost done. Awesome. Okay, so now it says done. So I'm going to go into this dist file, make sure this pyglit test2 still runs. And it does, and it still moves. And now you have something that you can share with other people. And that's basically this dist folder. So what I like to do is just compress this folder, and that's what I would send to people that want to run this. Sometimes you have to, it's a pretty big file, so if it's helpful, you can upload it to Google Drive and share the link, or upload it somewhere and just share that with people, however you want to. And again, if there's an issue and if it doesn't run properly, you can always go into that show package contents. And in there, you'll see the resources. So this has all of the image files. If there's an issue with the code, you can actually edit the code after the program is created, should you need to. And then if you go to Mac OS, you can see the pyglit test2 file. And in that, when you open it from here, it will show you if there's an issue, what that issue was. And you can actually open it from there too. Okay, so here also you can see it shows the console log, so that also helps with debugging. That's basically it. So hopefully this was helpful and you learned something from this.